We all have it, that loop of negative self-talk that plays in the background of our minds. I call it the abusive tape. I used to call it that at least. For a very long time, I thought I just had to listen to it, and I believed that it was true. But during my first year of intentional mindfulness, I learned that I didn't have to listen to it, that it wasn't true, and that I could press stop. Today, I'm sharing the exact techniques that I used to identify, interrupt, and eventually rewrite that tape. So, the first step isn't changing the thought, it's simply noticing it. When the abusive tape starts playing, telling yourself that you're not enough or listing your failures, you have to create a pattern to interrupt it. The technique is simple. As soon as you catch the negative thought, say out loud, if you can, stop. This breaks the neurological circuit. You're moving from the autopilot to the emotional brain into the conscious observer role. One thing that I learned quickly is that if you just ignore a deep-seated fear or thought, it just screams louder. Instead, I started scheduling for later. This technique worked great. I would tell myself, hey, I hear you, but we're so busy right now. Can we do this later tonight? This takes the urgency out of the anxiety and allows you to go about your day productively, knowing that you have a dedicated time to process those feelings with a cooler head. And I mean, let's face it, we're so busy during the day that we don't have time to sit and reflect on that trigger right away. So by scheduling it later, you are creating space for you to address that. Now, make sure that you show up for yourself if you tell yourself that you're going to do that, because otherwise, you're not going to believe yourself when you tell yourself, I'm going to do it later. By showing up for yourself and doing what you say that you're going to do, you're going to start trusting yourself. However, as I found, sometimes the tape is so loud and the nervous system is so fired up that you can't just think your way out of it. That's when I usually take a little break and go into a midday or whatever time it is meditation. Usually these are shorter ones, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. And if I had time for a long one, I would. So what I do, my to-go meditations for this are Heart Coherence meditations. Those are usually very short, 5 to 10 minutes. I will make a video explaining what Heart Coherence is, but right now let's just give you an overall idea. So heart coherence is a state where your heart, mind, emotions are in an energetic alignment. When we are stressed, our heart rhythm is jagged and irregular. When we focus on our heart and breathe deeply, we create a smooth sine wave-like pattern in our heart rate variability. This sends a signal to your brain that you're safe, and it moves you from fight or flight into a state of calm and logical clarity. This is also now going from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Now remember, when you're doing this, none of this is going to work out without grace. What do I mean by this? Well, we're often our harshest judges. You know, grace is the soft landing when you realize you spent the last hour being mean to yourself. You know, you start building self-compassion through grace. Think of self-compassion as a muscle. You build it by treating yourself like a dear friend. You wouldn't tell your friend that they're a loser and then just stop. You wouldn't. If a friend was struggling, you wouldn't tell them that. You would go ahead and offer them a hand. That's what grace is. It allows you to say, I'm struggling right now, and that's okay. I'm doing the best I can. Now, to wrap it up, I want to go ahead and give you two cognitive behavioral therapy techniques you can use alongside mindfulness. This is basically to help you start rewiring your brain. The first one is the evidence test. I recommend that you journal when you do this. And when you have noticed what the tip says, what your tape is saying, and you made a note to look at it later, you go and write down and you say, what is the evidence that this is true? And what is the evidence that this is false? Usually the false list is way longer. And you're going to start realizing that a lot of things that you tell yourself are just lies. or they're just based on past experiences, and that's where you're stuck at. The other tool is called cognitive reframing. You're going to go ahead and take that should have, like I should have done this, to a could have. This allows you to move from guilt to agency. So if you say, oh, I should have done this better, maybe you should learn from it and you say, well, the next time I could try this differently and I can do it like this. So at this point, you're already taking into consideration what went wrong, how to improve it, and how to move forward. Catching these tapes takes practice. You will miss it sometimes, and that's where the grace comes back in. Just keep pressing stop, keep breathing into your heart, and keep choosing a kinder voice. You're doing better than you think. I hope that you found a value in this. Please subscribe and share with some friends. I really appreciate it. Namaste.